Hello, everyone, and welcome. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Krystal, and I am a health and wellbeing consultant here at Borislow Insurance. I'd like to officially welcome you to today's webinar. We will be focusing on New Year and healthy weight. Very excited to have you all here today. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that we offer a variety of services here at Borislow Insurance. So if you have any other additional needs besides health and well-being, obviously we focus on employee benefits, but we have a variety of centers of excellence as well, as you can see on your screen in front of you. These include individual investments, retirement, Medicare, lots of communication, HR. So if there's anything that you need, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to assist you in whatever needs you may have. And then specifically within health and well-being, we like to look at the entire employee from a holistic approach, including physical well-being, financial, mental, and social well-being here. We offer custom designed programs. We help with measurable and actionable results and a communication plan. So if you haven't yet checked in with your specific health and well-being consultant, I encourage you to do so. Or if you are an employee, please reach out to your HR if there's anything that you would like to see or anything that we can help you with. As a disclaimer, we will be talking about healthy weight today, which can sometimes be triggering. So if you have any questions or concerns specific towards yourself, I encourage you to reach out to your primary care physician or registered dietitian or even a mental health professional. This is for educational purposes only, as I am not a doctor. So if you have any of those questions, reach out to your HR contact or check your benefits to see what options you have available to you. Today, we're going to have real and honest conversations. What works for one person, it may not work for another. And I hope you take whatever may serve you today and leave the rest. And I hope you enjoy. So I will encourage you to participate. You can engage in the polls we'll have today and the chat feature and the Q&A. I will be addressing any questions that come up at the end. So today we are going to focus on meeting where we're at currently today and doing a reflection practice on our relationship with weight in general. Then we'll look at the purpose and defining what healthy means. And then we'll look into how to put those practices into use and setting ourselves up for success. So that may look very different today compared to tomorrow or a year from now. So I love to engage and I encourage you to participate. I'm going to pull up our first poll today. And so let me launch here. Thanks for your patience. What would you say your relationship with weight is currently? Healthy, somewhat healthy, maybe neutral, somewhat unhealthy, or an unhealthy relationship with weight? And again, there's no right or wrong, there's no judgment. This is just to engage and maybe take a moment to pause and reflect and expand our awareness on our own relationship. Thank you everyone for participating. I'm just going to go ahead and share. And so you can see we have a pretty wide range of answers, somewhat unhealthy, somewhat healthy, somewhere in the middle. And so I hope that today what we have to share will help you in kind of looking at that. So I like to keep it really honest and open. So I wanted to start with maybe where does that come from? So you can see on your screen maybe some potential relationship levels. Where do these relationships really come from? So let's start with image. Maybe weight is related to image for some. Maybe we feel like we need to look a certain way, a bigger this and a smaller that, or maybe we have comparisons Maybe it's external, such as maybe television or TV, social media. Maybe it's individuals in your family or your friends. However, it doesn't need to feel a certain way. Maybe it's around numbers. Maybe it's the scale, which is a single measurement of physical weight that's just in relationship to gravity. A lot of times, maybe it's a BMI or a specific measurement that was actually last updated in 1998. So it's been a while since it's been updated. If you've ever utilized BMI, again, I'm talking in general information here, as it's not uncommon to talk about weight from a numbers perspective. However, I wanted to kind of switch the perspective into different relationships with weight. And so I just wanted to point out that the BMI, body mass index measurement, is another physical number that we use to measure our weight. However, it's been a while since it's been updated. And ironically, it was updated in 98, but in 92, supersize was introduced. So it doesn't actually include all of the changes in our day-to-day lives, including the food industry. And it also doesn't take into account the body composition, such as muscle mass in relation to physical weight. So just as a note there. And numbers sometimes are not a holistic measurement overall. Let's move on to emotional. Maybe your relationship can feel maybe frustrated with weight, or sad, or tired, maybe stressed or judgmental. When was the last time? And I encourage you to maybe engage in the chat if you feel comfortable. Again, no pressure or judgment, but maybe when was the last time you showed gratitude towards your weight or your physical body? Sometimes we forget to do that and often put a lot of pressure. So I'm curious, maybe when was the last time you showed gratitude towards your weight and your physical body? And then lastly, I want to take a look at, maybe we have a relationship with our lifestyle. Maybe that includes things around calories, unenjoyable tasks like maybe working out. Maybe we think we need to treat it like a job to maintain our weight, or to gain or lose weight. Maybe we feel like a failure sometimes. And this is just my own personal perspective as well. I am human first and foremost. And so I just wanted to share some of these different perspectives and where they come from, if they are genuinely internal or if it's maybe something we've been taught externally. Sometimes we should ourselves a lot. We should do this and we should eat this and whatnot, and take care of ourselves. And so I just wanted to kind of start there. More than likely, they have been relationships that we've been taught. So I invite you to just take a moment to reflect on maybe where your relationship kind of comes from or stems from. And again, it's just to build awareness and what that looks like in your personal space. It looks different for everybody. I'd also like to encourage you to maybe see if you're ready to redefine your relationship with weight. And hopefully we can do that here today. So I would like to encourage you to participate in our next poll. Let me just launch this. How would you define healthy? Maybe that means a lack of disease or illness. Maybe it's exercise or salads or a combination. Maybe it's a holistic approach, or maybe it's mental health, or maybe it's something completely different. And again, this is just to be really lighthearted and fun. I put some funny pieces in there like salads, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are. I'll go ahead and give just a few more seconds to enter your answers. Thank you everyone for participating. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here and share. And again, no right or wrong answer. So lack of disease and illness, has a 17% and 75% say a combination. I think it's beautiful, absolutely. There's no right way to define healthy because it looks different for everyone. So thank you so much for participating. I appreciate you. Let's take a look at some other definitions of what healthy may look like. So I like to list that as non-scale victories because the scale is only one measurement, as we know. So whether a healthy weight or overall well-being is your goal, building a healthy lifestyle is a process. It does not happen overnight. It takes a lot of imagination, a lot of bravery, and a lot of commitment. So focusing just on your weight or the measurement of the scale can often be limiting and keep you limited to keeping you motivated for the long game. So I wanted to just point out a few non-scale victories that can be celebrated as you go through your well-being journey, whatever that may look like. For those of you who may not know what non-scale victories are, they are your day-to-day health improvements that result from small lifestyle behavior changes. And they can easily sometimes go unnoticed if only looking at your physical weight and the number on the scale. So I'd just like to point out a few. There are lots listed here, but maybe that looks like more energy. So you can maybe play with your children if you have children or your pets. Maybe that's an improved social network that you have things in common with others. Maybe it's the fit of your clothing or walking up the stairs. I don't know about you, but I swear walking up the stairs never gets easier. Maybe it's a specific milestone you reach, or maybe it's your stress management. Maybe it's improved focus or memory. Maybe it's mental health. Maybe it's, I like to put beautiful plates. We'll kind of talk about that in a moment. Maybe healthy is just consistency in general. So there are many, many options. If you have something in mind that you don't see listed, I would encourage you to engage in the chat. I'd love to share other ways that maybe you've seen improvement that you're really proud of or hoping to reach. I encourage you to do so. So just as a definition of healthy, there's not one single definition. You can absolutely go to Google and search a definition and you will find specific answers there. But I wanted to point out that it looks very different for everyone, and to be mindful that there are a lot of improvements that happen on day to day that may not be reflected in a specific weight on the scale. As a reminder, we are focusing on healthy weight today. So if you are ready, I am curious if you are ready to go into the practices. So again, this is lighthearted, very fun. Yes, sign me up. Sure, why not? Or no, not really. I'll go ahead and give a few more minutes. This is where we like to take the information and move it towards actionable items so that we can practice them in our day-to-day. We love a preventive care process rather than investing in our health when we have to, which is why we are here and why we continually do our passion behind health and well-being. So hopefully you are ready. I'll give just a few more minutes to answer. Are you ready for the practices? Yes, sign me up. Sure, why not? Or not really, and that's okay too. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here and share the results. Sure, why not? Let's go. Sign me up. So I'm excited. Thank you for staying with me. Let's tackle these practices. So this is where most of the content, we will hang out here for a while. Hopefully you enjoy these. And as a reminder to take what serves you and to leave the rest. So if any of these don't resonate with you, I'm going to share on some things that are pretty standard, but also things that have helped me or those around me. So again, practices is where success comes from when you are prepared and when you meet the opportunity. So it's not rocket science, although it can sometimes feel just as hard. We all know nutrition, movement, and all of the extras come into play when a healthy weight is the goal. So combining movement with the right nutrients at the right time of day boosts your energy levels and your metabolism. I'm sure you already know a lot of the reasons why these are important and what happens for you personally when you don't utilize the practices. So I'll be focusing mostly on the how-tos and maybe some helpful tips today. So let's start and take a look at them. So nutrition is number one. Meal prepping is my first tip. And I'm not going to describe what they are in full detail, but essentially making sure that you have some meals easy on hand and ready to go for when you are hungry. So I like to encourage meal prep on Sundays so that you're ready for the week or directly after grocery shopping. As a reminder, it doesn't have to be complicated. The grocery store has lots of options for you. So options may look like pre-made salads, maybe rotisserie chicken that's already cooked for you, maybe portioned out yogurt cups or steamable veggie packets in the frozen section. I'm also a big fan of the 90-second rice packets. They save me lots of time. So just a way to incorporate that, I encourage you to try it out and see if it works for you. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I encourage you to either do it right after you grocery shop, whatever day that may be, or to prep on Sunday so that you're ready for the week. Next, I talk about limiting starches after lunch. So starches actually slow your digestion process, which is why it's so important to eat them earlier in the day. Although we are accustomed to typically, I'm a big fan of like a meat and potato for dinner. Although we're accustomed to that, there are other ways that we can incorporate healthy carbs or starches in the evening. And that could be like including lots of beans or lentils or quinoa or hummus as they digest in your lower intestine and they promote your gut health while you sleep. So I encourage you to experiment. Say you love spaghetti squash, you can use that instead of pasta at dinner or try any other version. Maybe you try quinoa instead of rice for dinner. So limiting your starches after lunch to really promote digestion as you move into the evening and rest at night. Next is lean, clean, and green. So that means lean proteins, clean ingredients, and lots of greens for dinner. Plants are simpler, just easier to break down, especially since you'll be using a lot less energy while you sleep because your body is resting and healing. So offering your body the nutrients that are easy to break down while you sleep is best. And that's why we encourage lots of greens. So options could be broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, kale, carrots, cucumbers, green beans, onions, mushrooms, peppers, whichever you prefer. Next is water. We all know that hydration is very important. It's recommended that you drink about half of your weight in ounces per day. Again, this is individual as everyone is different. So take a look and see what that is for you. And so options on how to incorporate more water would be to maybe meal prep bottles of water. So for example, say I have to drink 4 or 5 bottles of water, then I might set those aside in the morning. Maybe I have a specific water bottle that I enjoy, or really just removing other drink options from your space really helps as well, because we always go for the most easiest convenient option. And if water is our only option in front of us, then we're more likely to pick that up. Also, maybe making it a little fun. So you can always pour your water in a really fun like wine glass or something like that to keep it fun. I oftentimes joke with my colleagues or my friends and family and talk about, you know, sipping on water nonstop and, you know, really hydrating and making light of it. Next, I like to focus on plates. So big fan of prettier food tastes better, kind of like when you go to a restaurant and it looks beautiful on the plate. It just tastes better. It could be as simple as a salad, but I swear when somebody else makes it for you and it looks beautiful, it tastes completely different than when I make it at home. So I encourage you to get creative and maybe something as simple as using a really nice cutting board that you enjoy. That really helps as well. Things could include, actually, ironically, I just made for breakfast yogurt. And so I took a wine glass, and put yogurt with fruit, granola, and some chia seeds. And so it just looked nice and inviting. And so that helped me encourage healthier nutrition in my day. And so hopefully, maybe if that one speaks to you or is something you'd like to try, I encourage you to do so. It could be as simple as where you place your cucumbers on your salad, or how you cut up your carrots or whichever vegetable you prefer, and really just decorate. That also includes maybe some spices to sprinkle on top, or different spices for decoration like they do at restaurants. So I encourage you to try that out. Next, I'd like to focus on no cheat. So balance is absolutely key to a healthy lifestyle. I personally don't believe in having a cheat day or a cheat meal because I don't believe that it's cheating to have an occasional treat. I think it's simply called enjoying life. So I hope that you continue to go through life and enjoy, say, that birthday cake. But with anything, with that being said, it's best to stick with healthy indulgences and a healthy balance or moderation, and always keeping in mind quality over quantity or calories. And so never that feeling of, oh my gosh, I had a brownie for breakfast, and that's okay, and that's normal. That's called being human, but maybe not a brownie every morning for breakfast might be a better practice. So not to be too hard on yourself, and that life is supposed to be enjoyed as well. So I'd like to move on to movement. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes this is hard as well. Nutrition is one thing, but movement is another. And we all know movement counts when it comes to looking at maintaining or creating a healthy weight. So the first tip that I'd like to share is morning movement. The purpose of moving in the morning is because after fasting, or while you're sleeping, you're fasting, your body is ready to tap into your stored fat to utilize as energy. So therefore, you're burning extra fat instantly. Your metabolism continues to work long after your workout. So when you squeeze that in the morning, you kind of have done all of your heavy lifting. You've done it at the optimal time of for your body to use stored energy. And you've done it so that throughout the day, as you move through the remaining parts, then your body is still working. So I kind of like to think of this like an engine of a car. So just after you park and turn it off, the engine is still hot and it takes a while to cool down. So your body's very similar. If you work out in the morning, it will still take quite a while for your body to cool down. So it will continue burning even more as you go throughout your day. So why not do something for you before the day even begins? That being said, that is hard. So I am human with you. So some options would be to maybe reward yourself while you exercise. So I often think, most times individuals wake up and they check their phone. And so maybe if you like to check the weather, or you like to check your email, or maybe social media, or listen to a podcast, maybe wait until you've tied your shoes and gone out to do whichever movement you prefer before you check whichever preference. I personally like to check the weather, but that's one way to kind of get up and get going if you have any struggles there. Plus, I'd just like to point out that you are more likely to be consistent when you make it your first priority of the day and just do it and get it done. So Consistency is the next tip. So options include maybe going to bed a little bit early or getting up a little bit early. And that just helps to maintain that momentum. And that could be 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be this, 2 hours length of time. It is recommended for 30 minutes, but maybe you're not there yet. And maybe 2-3 minutes is perfect. If you can get that and then make that a consistent practice, then go from there and just know that that's okay. To focus more on the habit and behavior rather than the results really helps. Also keeping in mind that maybe mornings don't work for you. So choose a time that is most predictable and consistent in your day. Maybe that's during lunch, or maybe that's right after work, or maybe that's in the evening after your children are, asleep, or whichever works for you. And lastly, picking some kind of movement that is enjoyable. So play a little. Maybe you connect with an accountability partner. Maybe you log your journey. Maybe you create a specific movement environment in your home, in your space. Or maybe you like to get out of the house. A lot of times we might work from home now. And so maybe just getting out of the house. And then just noticing how you feel after. More than likely, you're probably going to feel pretty good. And that might lead to better food choices, improved attitude, maybe you're more uplifted. And oftentimes you might have a little pep in your step as you go throughout the day. So I always like to say that any movement counts. And I would like to encourage you to maybe think back at maybe what you did for movement as a child, and how you played. Because a lot of times when it feels like play instead of like a job or a task, then it might be a little bit more fun and you might enjoy it, and that could build consistency. And maybe you're not sure. So I would encourage you to experiment and try something new and give it a shot, whether that's on YouTube or with a friend or, in a different space. See what works. Maybe you love it, maybe you don't, and that's okay too. But finding what really, really sparks enjoyment when you go to movement. And lastly, I'd like to focus on direction, all the extras. So having a direction. So step one is always to define what you want and to clarify where exactly you want to go, and more specifically, how you want to feel. Put it where you're going to see it every day. Maybe it's on your nightstand. Maybe it's on the background of your phone or your computer, or maybe it's in your medicine cabinet. But setting one goal at a time. Maybe it's something as simple as starting with water or just getting up a little bit earlier, maybe 3 minutes, something that's attainable, and to start there and know directly where you're going. Sometimes when we do too many things at once, it becomes overwhelming. I like to point out that we are in January. A lot of times resolutions like to change everything, but setting up one behavior at a time and then building on that as you go. Next, focusing on validation. So self-validation is key. You must believe in yourself and recognize and honor your worth. This will build resilience and it will strengthen your mind and your thoughts, which, as I'm sure you are probably aware, our mind is the first to kind of say no, or I can't, or something of that sort. So using that to build resilience and say, I can do it, or I did it. Or, this counts, and all of those non-scale victories that we talked about before. So maybe first thing in the morning or before you go to bed, validate yourself and have that pep talk. Maybe it's during your workouts when you're really struggling, you're like, this is really hard. Doesn't matter because you're still doing it. Or when you're eating that consistent salad or whatnot, whatever it may be. And just validating that these are really great choices for the long run with becoming a little bit healthier. And next, I like to focus on journey. So just know that there are always going to be ups and downs. You'll have days where you are on point and you're rocking all your workouts and you're staying on track and going to bed feeling confident. But remember, you will probably have a day or a moment when you feel a little off, or maybe you haven't reached your peak, and you want to give more, just know that the next moment, the next meal, the next movement, workout is another time to start the next day. You can always restart as many times as you need to. Maybe you've already reached your peak and you feel really confident in where you were, and maybe you feel like you have to restart. So just know that your journey is always going to flow, and that it's very important that you never give up on yourself, ever. So just know that any action counts. All you have to do is just do it. So prepping for success, hopefully these points of practice will stand out to you, and hopefully strengthen your resilience as you move through your journey. I would like to encourage you to share which behavior really stood out to you that maybe you will use either today or tomorrow, whether that be meal prepping or beautiful plates. Maybe that's limiting starches after lunch today. Maybe it's including some movement in the morning. Maybe it's including any movement that you find enjoyable. And maybe it's as simple as self-validating that I am worth all of this hard work that I'm going to put in, or that I already am putting in, because every action counts. So I'm just going to give a few more moments. I apologize. I realize we are at time. So if you have to leave, that is okay, but we are just finishing up. Thank you for staying with me. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here and share. Thank you so much for sharing. We have lots of great options: meal prepping, limiting starches, water, and some morning movement, and some enjoyable movement. So thank you so much for sharing. I really hope you enjoyed today's session. I appreciate you being here today. And if you have anything, I will be here to stay with you. And the recording will come out shortly. Thank you for investing your time today and being with us. We really enjoy having you here, and we hope you found today's session helpful in your well-being journey. I hope you have a great day. Take care, everyone.